Dr. Dave Leidner. His educational background is in psychology. He's a board member of Atheists United, and he's here to talk to you today about ethics. Give it up for Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Okay, hello everybody, thanks. My name is Dave Leidner. I'm a board member of Atheists United, and I'm up here today to tell you that atheists really love the planet Earth, because for the time being, we're not going anywhere else. And one of the best ways to protect our home is by doing what many of us did here in town this morning, what many people are doing across the nation and around the globe, which is standing up for science. The scientific method is the greatest invention ever devised by human beings. It has its limitations and its pitfalls, but it's by far the best tool we have to find out what's true. And compared to any other way of knowing, it's more reliable, more productive, and has a nifty built-in self-correction mechanism. You can think of any problem facing us today, and science has an important role to play in its resolution. How do we preserve the environment? How do we reduce disease? How do we ensure that everyone on this planet has access to clean water, adequate shelter, safe energy? Which systems of governance are most representative? How do we reduce crime, prevent war? How do we tell fake news from real news? The best possible answers to all of these questions will come from the collection of data. In other words, they'll come from science. And here's another issue that science can help with: telling right from wrong. Yes, talking about ethics. Despite a myth to the contrary, ethics fall within the wheelhouse of science. I'll give you some examples. It was the scientific study of children raised in orphanages after World War II that led to the understanding that depriving infants of physical contact, despite meeting all other basic needs, is psychologically and physically harmful. And our treatment of infants in hospitals and institutions has become far more humane because of science. And we used to think that humans were the only animals with self-awareness, the ability to suffer, or moral values like fairness. But scientific study has put the lie to each of these claims, and these findings have inspired many to advocate for more ethical treatment of animals. And then there's the psychological and neuroscientific evidence that tells us that many of our moral intuitions are more emotional than rational. And this insight helps us understand that just because something feels right, it may not be right. I may favor policies that benefit me and my kin despite the cost to others, but I know from science that this preference is a product of evolution. And I know from science that unconscious processes in my brain can convince me that my preference is completely logical, even when it's not. And I know from science that if I was born with the same brain and in the same circumstances as those I'm willing to disadvantage, I would be no different than them. So hopefully you get the point. And here's what I ask of you now. Think carefully before you agree with any claim that science has nothing to say about some important issue, because it often does, and it often should. So let's not be afraid to say so. Our planet depends on it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Dave.